A bursar.
Spell it, please.
Bursar. Bursar.
R-S-A-R. Because I'm like, hey, like you're talking politely to an elderly gentleman and it's cold outside, and like, bursar. I'm gonna go with it's real.
That is real. Correct. That is the centuries-old college university financial officer title. But also in Hamilton, you punch the bursar.
With Aaron Burr, sir. Yeah.
Aaron Bursar, right?
He handles the financials. You punch the bursar. Yes.
God, I love that.
I would not have picked that one out, but I figured if Jeremy's going to make something up, it's going to be awkward as all get out, not something he doesn't have a punchline for.
What if the time-consuming parts of accounting just handled themselves? That's the idea behind Stack by Ramp, an AI-native platform that lets you deploy agents to do the repetitive work. Reconciliations, journal entries, flux analysis, your processes, your rules, your clients. You decide where it runs on its own and where it stops for your review. We personally at Specialized Accounting tested this out on a couple of our clients while it was in beta and saved over 50% of our monthly time on certain bookkeeping clients. And they've got the data to prove it. Ramp evaluated Stack against 200 plus real accounting tasks built and graded by working accountants, yours truly included, and it outpaces the general purpose models. So start your free 3-month trial at ramp.com/unaccountable.
Welcome to Unaccountable, the world's okayest accounting game show podcast for product news, updates, and education. I am your increasingly irrelevant host, Tyler Otto, and I'm joined by the partially prominent Jeremy Van Groll. Hello again, sir.
Hello to you. And I'm just put this out there. I'm fighting a cold, so if I sound like an emphysema patient, that's why. But I feel like I need to take advantage of this. So, like right from the beginning, gonna have to do some shenanigans. Ian, hit me with some dramatic music with the trailer voice. In a world where the dishwasher is never empty, one man must find the courage to ask his teenage son to please, for the love of God, empty the dishwasher. Coming soon to theaters near you. You gotta take advantage when you have these things, Tyler.
But I already know the ending to that movie, right? Like,
a fit?
You get told it's done, there's a celebratory scene, and then the final cut scene is as you peer into the dishwasher, it's still unloaded.
Yes. That is...
Or still loaded. Whatever.
A recurring fun thing.
Yeah.
Oh, but now I'm good, man.
Excellent work. Jeremy, crazy week, and I'm super excited about our guest. So,
yeah.
But before we do that, like, we glossed over a couple things in the last couple of weeks that we haven't been on. I don't know if you know this, but I just climbed the rank this week, moved up a spot in the top 1,000 firms. Do you know that?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Well, I mean, because Grant Thornton bought CBiz, so, there's no longer one up there. So I moved up one.
Yeah. I guess I did too. Congrats to us.
I think we all did. Everyone, you should go to your LinkedIn's right now and celebrate your climbing of the ranks right now. This is kind of big news, Jeremy. We're back on track. Like, maybe soon we have the big 5 again, because Grant Thornton, already a top 10 firm, now buying out CBiz, which was the only completely private equity owned firm as well, also top 10. So now big number 5 coming in here. I love that we live in a time right now, Jeremy, where everyone's like, accounting's irrelevant. It's going away. We're going to get replaced. And why are people spending so much money to buy accounting firms?
Yeah. And why do we get emails and calls every day? We're like, well, I'd love to talk about an acquisition or an investment. Yeah. Yeah. It's not going anywhere.
So it's just proof that at the big kids level, which will never be there, and at the little guy level, like yours and I, people are still finding value in it. And I don't know, my opinion, it's like everyone that wants to buy right now, they just want to buy a client list because they see how much you can automate in the future, but they want to buy the relationships, and the relationships you can't automate. Right.
Yeah. And is there a peak, right? That's what I'm wondering, right? Like, is there where it's going to like something changes at this point and then it's going to be less? And did you miss, if you're interested in selling your firm, I'm still undecided, right? But like, are you going to miss the boat at some point, and why? And I don't have any clarity around that.
Accountant, just what it means to be an accountant is going to change. And as long as you change with it, I don't think you're going to miss out, right? You're building AI tools and models and building relationships and offer bettering advisory services. And if that's the case, I think we are in a window where you could probably overcharge for your firm. I think the valuations will come down. But I don't think you should worry like, oh, my firm's going to go worthless as long as you're learning the new tech and tools. So game on, man.
Right.
And beyond that, I don't actually think we had anything else in the news this week. So on to the next part. Jeremy, we're back to having guests again. And I'm pumped because today we're bringing someone else to the podcast that I got the pleasure of meeting on one of my trips to New York. Ben Curtis, he is one of the founding partners of Good Measure Financial, all around amazing dude, and dare I say, a little bit of a Glenn Powell lookalike. Like, welcome to the show. I know you and I connected on this. Ben Curtis, welcome, sir.
Wow, what an intro. Thanks, fellas. Good to chat.
I know. You can go make that your LinkedIn, when they click on how to pronounce your name, just have that whole thing play.
Man, there's some really interesting ones that are out there, but that would probably take the cake.
All the ladies that are looking at or listening on the podcast now are going to jump to the YouTube and be like, I got to check them out.
They're going to be very disappointed also to hear about my wife and 4 young children too.
Well, Ben, I'm so excited to have you here. And there's so much I would love to tease up before we get you into the game, but there's also only so much fodder I have to go into fast figures. So I feel like I'm going to spoil any question if I intro you much more than the amazing Ben Curtis of the Gusto Partner Council. That's how you and I met.
That is true.
But Ben, anything else people should know about you before we subject you to torture?
I think let's dive into torture. If there's anything important after that that's not covered, we'll cover it then. Let's make it happen.
All right, let's do this.
Welcome to Fast Figures. 10 questions, 1 minute-ish. All answers are numbers. The game starts now.
All right, Ben, you're familiar with the format. Let's put a minute on the clock. See how you do.
Let's do it.
1065 business partnership returns are due soon. What day is that this year?
Yeah, October 15.
In the 2000s classic sitcom Malcolm in the Middle, how many sons were in the family when it aired?
Oh gosh, 4?
For companies that are required to comply with FMLA, how much paternity leave is required to be provided to new fathers?
We're going to say 4 weeks.
When volunteering, what is the IRS charitable mileage deduction rate that you can reimburse?
53.5 cents per mile.
What is the IRS code that is usually used for churches and nonprofits to register and allow tax-deductible donations to their entities?
Bro, the NFPs.
In Tolkien's novel, The Fellowship of the Rings, how many members were on that council to kick off that story?
That's a good one. My son's been all into that recently. 9.
Is the annual fee for filing federal income taxes greater than or less than $50?
It's less than.
A bi-weekly payroll schedule will typically result in how many payroll runs a year?
Bi-weekly is going to be 26.
In the original Nintendo game Super Mario, how many lives did you start with?
Was it 3?
In The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, what is the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything?
I think it's sad that this is one I feel more confident in. 42.
Well done. You staged a late comeback in this one.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, wasn't it?
You did pretty good in it, but let's dive in, and I want to get into why I asked some of these questions. The first one, Ben, 1065 business partnerships are due soon. What day of the year is that? You said October 15th. The partnerships are actually due 9/15, a month before your personal returns. But I bring this up because your firm, your partnership, you and Joe started this thing back in 2021. And I love asking firm owners that have a partner, because Jeremy and I missed out on this. Like, what has having a partner done for you in your business that you feel like solo operators like us are missing out on?
Yeah, one, you didn't ask me to say this, but the questions are great because you make yourself feel so bad by doing so poorly on them, but then you get to tell stories about yourself, and that's a lot more fun.
Right.
So Joe Cruz, my business partner, a lot of what you just said like there's a lot of benefits that we have reaped from. We're not the same person, and so that's led to we see things differently sometimes. Sometimes there's tension, sometimes there's conflict, and we've got a 15-year long friendship that we fall back on. So Joe and I met each other in 2010, 2011. We've been good buddies since then, and our families have known each other. So it's pretty interesting because we don't provide tax services, which is part of, the shows and some of the answers that were given there. But he's an awesome guy. Establishing roles clearly has been really important. But what's cool is you have the flexibility to shift back and forth between partners over time. Like what's helpful for person A to do, what's helpful for person B to do. And we've lived that. So we can definitely talk about that more. But I think good measure, I think I can say this 6 years in, I do think we're one of those stories of partnership gone right. And you do hear a lot of stories of partnership gone wrong,
My biggest fear about partnerships, and like even when trying it, is like when both people have to be able to survive off the income from it. It gets terrifying. I think that's why Jeremy and I work so well, is because we just fight over who takes the debt in unaccountable.
Right.
Yeah. But for you guys, like that's a tricky balance to have. Do you think the friendship beforehand is the reason why it works?
I do think that's part of it. I also, I love making fun of Joe and ragging on him, but to his credit, he's one of the most humble people. No, he's really selfless, and and he snatched me out of public accounting to start this firm together. But he'd been running and operating as the president of a firm, of multiple firms, for almost 10 years before that. And so I think there's a lot of humbly confidence that we'd be able to figure this thing out. But even if not, we were pretty honest with each other, like, man, this might not pan out, especially in those early days of working out of the garage. This might not pan out. How are we going to make that work? I will say another thing is Joe has been on staff with the carbon teams in a fractional role today, but he used to be full-time there while also helping me run the firm. So that we were pretty intentional on that, Tyler. How are we going to make the finances make sense for two partners? But still, there is a ton of humility on the front end, mostly on his part, to give him some credit.
I love it. I'm envious. Jeremy, we need better partners.
Is the unaccountable partnership return going to get filed on time, Tyler?
That's debatable, dude.
That's
Whatever,
right.
it's zeros. It's the easiest return we got.
Yeah, right.
I heard it's due October 15th, so just make sure you get it in by then.
That's right.
Question 2, Ben. In the 2000s classic sitcom Malcolm in the Middle, how many sons are there in the show when it originally aired? You correctly said 4, which also you just welcomed your 4th kid. And I want to pair this with the question after, which was, for companies that are required to comply with FMLA, how much paternity leave is required? You said 4 weeks. Way to be generous. Paternity leave is 0.
Yeah. So that was aspirational, Tyler. So you ever heard of like manifesting and speaking into existence?
Yeah.
So the CPA firm that I left when I started Good Measure had no paternity policy. We had our first child during that time. Totally makes sense. It's fine. I did fight for there to be a paternity policy. Today, they have some sort of policy. And so sometimes, you can just be aspirational and fight for something. So maybe FMLA will get on that thing too.
Well, and here's the thing. You just had your 4th kid a month ago, and you took paternity leave for several weeks. Like, what went into planning for that, getting firm buy-in, and making that happen? Because I think most firm owners, they'd be terrified to step away from their business for that long.
Yeah. I will say some reps under the belt helps. So even this is our third baby since the business was born, if we could say that. And so when we started Good Measure, when Joe and I started it, my wife was pregnant with our second child. It's like 3 months, 4 months, something like that. But there was no paternity time 6 months into the business when that child was born. A little bit more paternity time when the third one's born. But yeah, with this one, I mean, honestly, it goes back to like, we have a killer team. And I do think like we've been fortunate enough to where the business is in a spot now to where I think like Tyler, the same is true with you, Jeremy. I don't know if this is where you're at, where all execution doesn't run through my hands. In fact, most doesn't. So
Right.
There are different costs to the business when I step away, for sure. And paternity time when you're running a remote business or maternity time can look pretty unique, can look pretty different. It's been very flexible on and out. But Off and on is what I mean. Like you can hop on when you're holding the baby in the middle of the night type of thing. So the team's awesome. I just had a cool chat with one of our key leaders today, which is like, hey, let's do an after action review. How did the last 6 weeks go? What broke? Because that was an intentional thought on the front end, and sometimes I think you have to be like, I'm in for the ride here. I don't know what's going to happen, but I want to test what happens if we do X, what stretches, what cracks, and then what breaks. It's hard to make that decision to do that. But we had buy-in from a few key people on the team. They're like, hey, we're going to make this thing happen because we think it's what's best for the company. So we could talk more about that, but mostly it boils down to like a couple awesome people that kept things running.
But I like you going into that, using it as your A/B testing of like, could this work out? Especially because like sometimes if you tell clients, hey, I'm disappearing for 4 weeks because I'm going to Hawaii to learn to surf, they're like, what do you mean? Like, no, you're not disappearing on my books. I'm paying you. If you say I'm having a kid, they're like, oh, congratulations.
This is true. People are way more reasonable. I got a phone call from a client, one of our OGs, which that doesn't happen much anymore for me to get a direct phone call from a client. And I just said, hey, I'm like on paternity. We just had a baby. Oh, sorry. We'll talk to somebody else. So you're speaking from personal experience though, right? Spending 4 weeks in Hawaii, going to learn to surf. Wasn't that in your recent fast?
Didn't learn to surf and it was 10 days, but yes, I tried. And Jeremy replaced me with a better host.
Yeah, that's right. But I think we both had that experience recently as well. I traveled at the end of the year and then you more recently, but coming back didn't feel like it went poorly. And it's kind of a great, cornerstone or stepping stone for your organization when you can do that.
Yeah, Jeremy, what do you feel like what were some of the specific things? Because it's fresh in my mind. Like, what were some of the specific things that you thought, oh man, this might get stretched, and you were pleasantly surprised? Hey, this worked well.
Yeah, I think it's just at that point, and I've regressed a little bit with some staffing challenges, but like just I'm kind of the glue, right? And that's what I was worried about, right? Like I need to handle the hard conversations sometimes. And if there were any of those that happened, and there happened to be one, and my number two just ran with it, right? And did fantastic. So that was really my only concern, is if something crazy came up and there was like a really hard client or internal conversation, like conflict that had to be worked through.
Yeah. We had, it was neat to hear from one of our team members this morning say, he used those words, I was pleasantly surprised that less things didn't break and less things didn't crack. It's like, cool. Also very helpful to hear the things that did, you know what I mean? For us, we learned like, yeah, there's a lot that we would have thought Ben needs to be involved in on a granular level, where it's like, we have some pretty killer people, they're smart and they're reasonable. They made good decisions that I'm not, whacking them over the head with a hammer for after hearing about it in retrospect. So it was actually a cool thing, Tyler. It's like top of mind for me. Just haven't chatted about that.
I think the funniest comment I got, because May and June, I was traveling a lot. And when I came back from, the week at Scaling New Heights and then Hawaii, my team members said, we found a few things that broke without you here, and we found several things that now run better when you got out of the loop.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
It's like win-win, baby.
Yeah. Well, on to the next one. So I want to put these two questions together as well. But we asked, when volunteering, what is the IRS charitable mileage deduction rate that you can reimburse? You generously said 53.5, which is the medical rate, if I'm not mistaken. But charitable only gets 14 cents and business gets 76 cents. Come on. Like, that's not fair. But I want to pair this with the other one. What's the IRS code that usually gets used for churches and nonprofits to get tax deductible? You're going to smack me because I didn't know how to word this question any better. So it's probably my fault. But 501c3 is what we were looking for.
Okay.
And
I think I've heard of that before.
Yeah, I bring this up because you guys focus on ministries, churches. You seem to have a lot of messaging on your website to be going towards those organizations. What kind of led you guys to having that focus, and what has it done for you as far as getting new clients and sales?
Well, I think we probably just lost all new possible clients by not saying 501c3. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's really something that fell into our lap. So when Joe and I started Good Measure, we were not trying to be a church or nonprofit focused organization, but today it's a third of our relationships that we have with folks. So we're doing like the accounting cycle, and but we're pretty relational and pretty consultative. And I think I don't know, I think like worldview, the way that we want to care for people, there's a lot of like churches and nonprofits that kind of see things that way too. And so there's some sort of buy-in there. The stereotype is that, maybe similar to folks in the trades, a lot of those folks are not going to be particularly tech forward. They're definitely going to see the accounting cycle or the accounting function as a commodity rather than a value add. That's totally true with churches and nonprofits too. But if it's true for 90% of them, that means there's still 10% that want to operate the way that we would operate, like with a human-centered focus, and we're freaking crushing it on the actual technical side, but like we're emotionally intelligent people too. All that said, we've actually found there's a ton of business out there to be had for it. Kind of have like the playbook on that now. And we get pumped about all these for-profit startups that we're involved in too. So it's been neat. It's cool actually to see, Tyler, like some unique overlap. I've got to find a better word than this, but like psychographically between the clients that we have, like who they are, you know what I mean? How do they think? How do they operate? What do they value? What do they not value between folks in the church world and folks in the HVAC space? Because I think we're just finding the people that fit us and that care about whatever service and operations the way that we would. So there's a lot of business out there to be had for someone who's mildly good at accounting. If you can like tack on human-centered stuff, if you can tack on like being pretty, focused on like data architecture and tech, it's like there's a lot of cool stuff out there to be had.
Yeah. And I don't do taxes either, and we focus primarily on almost solely on
don't spoil one of my
people.
questions coming up.
I'm not going to, but why, like Tyler, from a tax point of view, for a tax exempt entity, why is the reimbursement for mileage less? Like, why does this make sense? I don't get it.
Do you want to know why, Jeremy? I have an answer for everything. And granted, I don't have an authority on this, but Jeremy, the tax code is like 8 pages of here's how you're taxed. And then the following 8,000 is except for this, because people have lobbied over time. Who out there is lobbying for people volunteering? Right?
Not
like
Jeremy.
Nobody's out there saying, yeah, Jeremy's not doing it. So everything that's in the tax code, someone lobbied for and got the benefit of, because there was enough people complaining, no one's been pushing for, hey, volunteers should get more of a reimbursement.
Okay.
And not volunteers, Ben, graduates of University of Tennessee. I'm talking in general.
True, because that's a different group of people that everybody loves.
Are you the paint your whole body orange come football season? Is that what we expect from you on the internet?
I did have those days in high school. I was a mediocre athlete at everything, which means I was never good enough to actually be on the field or be on the court. But it also meant I had more passion than just about anybody else who wasn't on the field or on the court. So I won Fan of the Week in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, the local newspaper when I was in high school, because I painted up like a maniac. And I got 10 weeks of Pizza Hut pizza. And as a 16-year-old boy, that was killer. So I don't think I can beat that. So no, I don't paint up anymore because I'm living in the past.
I did not see that on your LinkedIn resume. You need to go. Update
surprisingly, it's not the first thing I lead with.
Wow. Well, let me help you with some sales advice because I think that would land more deals.
That's good.
In our next question, in Tolkien's novel, The Fellowship of the Rings, how many members were on the council that kicked off that epic story? Man, you felt pretty good about hitting it with 9.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
And I ask you about councils. I mean, you and I met on the Gusto Council. It seems you really got connected in the industry while being on Intuit's council. Really, I want to ask you, how did you go about getting on these councils? Did you have, connections ahead of time? What have they done for you? And what would be your advice to those getting started that maybe they want to get involved in those? Give me all your thoughts.
Yeah, totally. Well, I've listened a few months ago and he chatted with our good friend Roman, where he chatted about a similar story here about being on councils and such. Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of thoughts on the big accounting tech, fintech players in our space and what relationship and partnership does and doesn't look like. I will always say I'm incredibly grateful for the Intuit relationship and what that's done for me, just on a personal level. That has opened many doors. I think same thing with you all. Tyler, I don't think we'd be chatting right now if you and I hadn't connected on that Gusto Council. So I'm thankful for them. I think what they do, especially as a firm owner or leader. So we've got 13 people on our team today, relatively small. All things are relative, but We've got a solid firm, and also we're not a top 100 firm. We have vision and desires and hopes that aren't just growth focused, but growth is going to be part of what helps us achieve some of those desires. And so doors being opened relationally with big players in the accounting tech and fintech space. I mentioned my business partner, Joe, has got a deep relationship with Carbon. And so our firm's been able to build that deep relationship too. What's cool, man, is like, just like with this right here, the human connection, it actually matters quite a lot. I think you can see this massive behemoth of like an Intuit or a Ramp or a Gusto or Bill, you know, and they're just like a logo. That's all they are. It's just a logo. The reality is, I think you get connected to a few folks. It's like there's actually like meat on the bone for affecting change inside your own firm. So we've lived that. We've seen that. I think selfishly, like we've reaped a ton from being able to see like what's on the roadmap with various organizations, but also being able to contribute to it. Like I want to be a part of the story of where writing the story of where the accounting industry is going. I'm just a guy. I don't think I'm going to, change everything in the world, but I want to do something. I do have some ambition to do that. So I want to be part of that story. I want to be shrewd and say like, these are some of the big folks that really are writing the story. Well, what does it look like to be connected to them? And you know what, how do I actually give them some value too? So I'm super thankful for it. And what's cool is I think you've seen this too, Tyler. Those relationships don't just end after your senatorial 2-year stint on a council. It's like you build connections, you build relationships. It really does affect your firm. We've been able to get our team into things too. So that's what's really cool, seeing them light up. And I think like they're probably progressing in different ways than they otherwise would have if they weren't talking to product leads at Gusto, for example. So it's opened a lot of doors relationally, but it's also, I think, just good for our team to see like, where is the space going?
I've been saying for a long while, I think Jeremy smirked when you said it, writing the story, because Jeremy's heard me say it, like, I don't want to be an influencer. I just want to have influence. I want to be part of deciding where this industry goes. So like, you totally hit a nerve with me there.
You didn't even feed that to me either.
No.
Give me $20 later.
Hey, we negotiated down. Speaking of $20, is the annual fee for filing federal income taxes greater or less than $50? You're right. It's right there around $20. So under 50. Yeah. Plus, your 1875 plus a PTIN renewal, and you can file taxes. And it seems you're just as smart as Jeremy, as you already mentioned earlier, that amongst all the services your firm offers, you're not doing income tax prep. And I know many firms worry about like, oh, I'm not doing income taxes. I'm not going to be able to grow and sign clients. I'm curious from both of you, what would you say to that firm owner that's worrying about like, hey, this is going to be the limiter from my ability to scale and grow? Ben, I'll let you go first, Jeremy, just because he's the guest.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious to see what you think about this too, Jeremy. I think the short answer is like, what do you want? Like if you're a firm owner or leader or solo practitioner or whatever, like, what do you even want to do? For us, there's just inherent, like Tyler, you see this, there's an inherent quality of life effect stereotypically for folks that are really heavy in tax prep and tax planning and tax consulting. Now, all three of us know folks that are actually running firms that are really heavy in tax and doing it really well for quality of life. Their teams aren't getting crushed. That is not the norm though, like just broadly in our space, that's not the norm, that's the exception. And so I looked at myself and I thought, what are we more likely to thrive in as our primary service offering? It honestly makes sense for someone like me to have 4 kids, that's part of it. I think the phrase like lifestyle firm, I don't love the connotations around that. So I don't say that around myself or about Good Measure, but I do think there's an opposition to the like idea of someone who's laying down their soul on the altar of tax season and like what Good Measure is trying to do. There's a spectrum there, so that's one of the reasons why. Now the other side of the coin there is like, we're thinking about enterprise value of the organization and just like value we can provide to our clients. We have not lost much. I don't know if we've lost a single prospect. Jeremy, I don't know if you have. I literally don't know if we've lost a single prospect that's come in the door because we don't do tax in-house. Now what we do is we've had to find really good partners and relationships to be able to get that need met, but like we're meeting needs. So that's what we tell people is we can meet the need underneath our umbrella or connect you to these awesome folks. Those are the types of things I would tell someone who might be concerned about this. What do you think, Jeremy? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I'll definitely echo, like, you need to have good partners. And unless they came to us only looking for 990 services, I don't think that was a deciding factor at all. Is like, we have these relationships. We primarily work with Kirsten's group, who's fantastic, and we'll do all of our 990s. But to me, it is like, my passion isn't compliance, it's insight and allowing you to make business decisions within a nonprofit. And the 990 form is all like compliance and all like check these boxes and whatever else. And I get no passion in that whatsoever. So I was like, I don't want to do that. Right. I want to know, how can we make your grant tracking better? How do we get you more of those things? How do you know how this program is impacting your bottom line? Do you need to get more funding for it? Things like that. That's what gets me going. So I didn't want any part of that compliance stuff.
Tyler's probably over here going like, it doesn't have to look that way, guys. You can do it and it go well too. But I will say, before we let Tyler jump in, I will say, Jeremy, I think a lot of those same things too. Like, relationship is so key to us. Our like MRR, our average client size, I think, is relatively large because we're in pretty deep with them. You know, we're in pretty deep relationally. I think what that means is like, we just tend to draw people who care less about compliance only. Now, the good news is, I think there's people like Tyler out there where I don't think you're just delivering compliance only and people don't care about you either. So obviously there's a spectrum here, but yeah. How do you defend yourself, Tyler? What's your thoughts on this?
So first of all, I would say, you know, I see the people that struggle around tax season, and I get why, because they're a tax first firm and it's all production. It's not relationship and advisory. For us, we won't do your taxes unless one of two things is true. You're a monthly accounting client, so we're already in your books all the time. We know you, we work with you, great, we have a relationship, easy. Or you're on quarterly tax strategy where we're meeting every quarter, reviewing your books, you're paying us year round, we're in there, we see it, and come tax season, it's like done. But I could see that we would be drastically burnt out if we went the traditional model of just, hey, let's crank everything out once a year. 90% of our income comes from monthly accounting services. Only 10% comes from tax and tax strategy. So I think we sell tax because it's a really great bait on the hook of like sometimes selling accounting services isn't as sexy. Like, oh, we're going to give you insights. It's going to cost you money. But if I can sell you tax savings, give me $1 and I'll give you $2 back. And then I'm also going to make money on everything else. We use it almost more as a lead magnet to get them in for monthly accounting services.
I think that's smart. It totally makes sense. Is that how you started? You spun up from the beginning with that, right?
We started out with bookkeeping only. CAS only, because we don't use the B word anymore. Right? We don't sell that anymore. We do everything.
It's very offensive.
It is. But what I will say too, I like about what you guys do, and actually I feel like both our listeners need to hear it, is you said, hey, we can take care of everything for you with our partners. Some people, when a customer comes to them or a prospect comes and says, hey, can you take care of my accounting and my tax? They say, we can do the accounting, and then there's a no, but we have a partner. Whereas if you sell it as, yeah, we got you, we take care of all this in-house, we have partners we work with, and they say, yes, and we're going to take care of it with our partners, the yes and comes across so much better than the no but, and it's the exact same sentiment. It's not, no, we don't handle it, but we've got someone. It's, yeah, we handle it, and we use our third-party providers. Dude, people get excited. Yes and all day.
It's crazy what a difference like a small tweak in messaging or syntax really makes for people. But like, I think it matters. What we're trying to do is like be problem solvers for people, solutions architects, you know what I mean? So it's like changing the way you say one sentence to make it clear. No, we really like to help you solve that problem. And this is the way that we do that. I do think that lands to the average person really well.
Completely agree. Let me ask you something. You down with MCP? Yeah, you know me. And so is Double. Yes, Double has just released their new MCP, or Model Context Protocol, which for nerds, that's how you connect your favorite AI bot to your platform of Double to be able to triage and instantly transform your experience with your client portal into the most revolutionary task management system. Want summaries of client workflows, open task, team performance? You are limited by your own imagination right inside your Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, or Copilot. So head on over to doublehq.com, give them a try, because this new MCP is going to change the way you run your firm. And better yet, don't use MCPs, Great! They just rolled out Ask Double, your own chatbot with Inside Double to execute tasks, perform work, and make your life simpler. doublehq.com and tell them the guys at Unaccountable sent you. A bi-weekly payroll schedule typically results in how many payroll runs a year. You correctly hit the nail on the head at 26. And I bring this one up because Jeremy and I have had debates for a while, and I see on your website you offer payroll as a service, right? You say, hey, we'll take care of payroll. Jeremy and I have had debates for a while because his company clicks the button to run the payroll. Mine, we never do it. We make the client do it. I'm curious what you do, where you stand, and why you've gone that way.
Man, it is funny because people have such heated conversations about this.
Yeah.
And it totally, I mean, I get it. It totally makes sense. So we're not offering to go back to yes and a no, but we're just not offering classic true HR services. So we do say that is something we're actually pretty clear on because there's like liability stuff we don't want to get involved with there. Now, that being said, what that means is like we're not a true full-blown outsourced HR department. We're pretty dang involved in the payroll process. So we love people like Gusto that help us with this, but like we are adjusting compensation for we're onboarding a new hire. We're running the payroll itself. You got to have an internal person involved there. So like someone approving timesheets, you got to have like approval workflows. But the reality is we don't see that any differently. It's different, but we don't see that functionally any different than like a bill pay flow where it's like we'll be involved and we must have somebody internal involved. There must be proper approvals, yada, yada. You know, there's actually a lot of similarity there. We've had conversations with people who say like, I'm not touching client money flow. We're just not dealing with that. I think that's reasonable. Yeah, I think it's reasonable. We go back to like the things that we hear from clients. We've heard enough of, or prospects, we've heard enough of this is an actual problem for us and we would like somebody to help us with it. I think the final thing there is we might be like involved from an accounting or a data flow or a bookkeeping perspective in the payroll, but not actually process the payroll or be involved in its setup. And sometimes it causes more problems to own like the underlying result of a payroll function. Like the data is being pushed into books, but we didn't actually have anything to do with how the data gets there. So we actually like net, we think we're more efficient and smoother if we own the whole process. And we just got to make sure we're okay on a liability side. Yeah.
See, I had PTSD before I started my company when I ran payroll at corporate jobs of being like 11 p.m. waiting for a manager to respond on tips to be paid out and just hating life. So when I started from day one, it's like, you guys have to click the button. And I hid behind, hey, good audit standard is separation of duties. Whoever's reconciling the books shouldn't be able to move money. And I've just lived by that ever since we've grown.
Says the guy who has no clients that get audited or almost none.
He said he was hiding behind it. That's not actually his reason.
I use the auditor all the time. Like your auditor will not like this, but almost all the clients get audited. So,
they all get audited, but the auditor still can flag that stuff, and I don't want to do it. So there we go. It is true. It is good audit standards. Don't come at me, Jeremy. Two more, and I'm really proud how you finished strong on these. But in the original Nintendo game, Super Mario, how many lives did you start with? Yeah, you're correct. You started with 3. And I want to say, like, I always love a good redo, right? You get to start fresh. You get a few do-overs. If you had to redo your firm again today from start, what would you do differently or do sooner or just change if you had an extra life?
Yeah, I will say, I think it was really good that we were small for a long time because there were a lot of mistakes that I made and just things that didn't go that smoothly. And they affected less people because we were smaller. So we actually were I mean, there's so many things. I think I've always been pretty ambitious and like I want to be Braveheart, Mel Gibson and Braveheart, like, let's go, leading people into battle. Everyone doesn't respond well to that. And so I would like to think I'm a bit more nuanced and can speak to different people in ways that they need to hear. I think that's one thing I would do really differently. In sales, and trying to win a team over to like this sort of initiative, in conversations with my wife. I think it's just like being a wise person is probably being softer sometimes and not aggressive full bore all the time. So that is far and away one of the things that I would do differently.
Yeah, Wisdom at its best. So if I ever get a do-over, that's where I'm starting. Last question, Ben. In Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, what is the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything? Nailing it on the head. 42. Ian, can we get a clip?
The answer to the great question of life, the universe, and everything is 42.
But I ask you about this because at Bridging the Gap now, just recently, you and Jerlyn talked about leadership, people transitions, people finding their purpose within their work, and like as they age out and how you facilitate leadership changes. I'm really curious if first, for both our listeners, you can give them the Cliff Notes version so they know what I'm talking about, but then also, why was this on your mind and important?
Yeah, so Jerlyn Dressler and I, she's at YPTC. She leads growth over there, like a massive firm. She's just become a good friend. She and I are in different seasons of life. We've gotten to know each other through the accounting conference and council circuit. So another plug there. Relationships with both fintech folks, but also other firm owners like us. And, honestly, she's someone that I just really enjoy deep conversations. So like shooting the breeze like this is super fun. And you know what? I'd also love to sit down and talk to you about the meaning of life an hour from now. It's like both of those are pretty fun for me. I just like being able to do that. And so she and I spoke at the Bridging the Gap conference about the purpose gap. Yeah, the Cliff Notes version is, there's a lot of folks, particularly as folks get closer and closer to retirement age, and she's seeing this in a 800 employee company as well. And just broadly, I think in the industry, folks might be terrified to take a next step in life. And that might be retirement. It might be having a baby and taking paternity time, whatever, because we have no idea what the purpose is in our life and what are we living for. So, I mean, it's pretty deep, it's like, it really does. The questions get at like, who are you? What are you here for? Like, why do you care about what you care about? What is purpose? And so the conference was wonderful because there are many different, avenues that question is hit on. Like, you can find meaning this way and find meaning that way. So we were just chatting about, as leaders of a firm, I do actually have a conviction that I play a role in my team members, like living out purpose. So there is purpose. I don't think it's cheesy. I actually believe this. There is some purpose behind like the accounting and payroll button clicking and tax return signing that we do. I think there's dignity in that. I think it's good for human flourishing. And I just believe that. And it sucks sometimes. Like, work is hard and things aren't easy. And so it's like, let's not be naive about it. But I do think there's a lot of purpose in that. Why should a firm owner care about their team members' purpose that they have in life or not? It's like kind of a contentious question. But I just think like your firm's going to run better if you treat your people well. Your firm's going to run better if we invest in people like living out what they want their purpose to be. So believe it or not, that is the Cliff Notes version, because we talked for an hour and I feel like I could talk for 2 hours about it because it matters. It's the people part of this is, I think, a large part of why I do what I do.
Well, and to be fair, your guys' session, the last 15 minutes just devolved into a giant entire room conversation that got forcefully stopped because we were running out of time and had to get back to the main session, but like it would have kept going for another 2 hours.
Yeah, and I think those are the most fun, like socializing, this type of thing. So for the two listeners here, you should chat with somebody about purpose, your purpose and work. How are those connected? How are those not? I think it can lead to good conversations.
Ben, thank you so much for joining us this week. Before I forget, though, 7 out of 10. Like, you're getting C grades, which unaccountable is way too good for our standards. So, Ben, before we let you out the door so you could go rethink your purpose for saying yes to this, anything else you want our listeners to know, where they should find you, next Glenn Powell lookalike contest you're joining, anything you're doing, like, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I heard Jeremy's hosting that contest at his house, so everyone can show up there, and I will be the winner.
Perfect.
You can find me on LinkedIn, probably the best place. I'm always looking for good chats with firm owners, folks in the space. We're growing and hiring, so if any of this resonates, I'd love being able to have conversations with you. But LinkedIn is the best place to find me.
Awesome. Ben, thank you so much, sir. See you at the next show.
Thanks, guys.
And just like that, maybe a little late in the game, but we are at halftime and the time of the episode where we go to the sidelines and get a nice little bite out of an app. Or I don't even know if I can call it an app this week, Jeremy, but I feel like this is my time to do a public service announcement because I want to highlight like Windows operating system and Mac operating system.
Okay.
Because, Jeremy, we now live in the world. I don't know if you know this, but like I'm playing with, Ramp, Stack, Double AI. Canopy has their new built-in AI. Financial Sense is announcing theirs. But like all these tools, they're building in the voice to text ability. But even if they're not in there right now, you can talk to the bots. Like, I just feel like everyone needs to know. Windows H if you're on a Windows, or what is it? The function key twice, or that fancy new F5 key if you're on a new one on Mac. Double tap that on a Mac or Windows H. You can talk to your computer and ramble at the bot and be so much more efficient. I kid you not, like, you don't have to have good grammar, good syntax, proper punctuation. You just ramble. Tell it what you want it to get done. Guys, this is going to change the game. And if you're not doing yet, like, figure it out. Windows H or Command, or if you're on a Chromebook, apparently I have the button called Launcher. It's Launcher plus D.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you doing this right now, Jeremy? Do you talk to your
I
bot?
am not. I had been using like WhisperFlow for a while and kind of using that. Do you think that this replaces that? Like you don't need?
It's built into every operating system. So no matter where I'm at. Now, the problem is, like, if I use an AI, like if I'm in Double or Stack and I use their microphone, it will go back and repunctuate it and make it pretty, which is probably what WhisperFlow does because it gets in there and does AI. But if I'm not needing a human to ever read this, I'm just talking to the bots and working with it. It's already built into the system, dude. Just go.
But like you're on a full Microsoft environment.
Yes.
Right? So let's say you're not on that. You feel it's equally as useful. Like if you're in a Google environment.
Yeah, Launcher D. Go to town. Like, it doesn't matter. It's built into the hardware you're on. It's not anything about the software. So I feel like this is my public service announcement. Start talking to your bots. Go become Joaquin Phoenix and her and develop that, very disturbing relationship.
Creepy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk to anyone else while we're talking?
Yes,
How many others?
8,316.
All right, I like it. I'm going to try this.
There you go. That's all I got for you.
All right. Well, I've got a game for you, sir. Kind of a quick hitter here. We had a lot of time with Ben, and that was fantastic. But one I'm going to call, Are Those Real? So I'm going to give you just like personally, just a professionally a rough week, couple weeks here. Some staffing we had to let go. And then I have a fantastic account manager that's out on medical leave as well. So
And
things
the dishwasher.
The dishwasher won't get emptied. It's ridiculous. But there is just a lot going on. But then personally as well, my family, some issues going on. But knowing that I have the firm and that flexibility, that's actually helpful for the personal side. But you never know when you may have to think and you're at your wit's end to find a real job again. So what I'm going to give you, Tyler, is a list of finance position titles. And you have to tell me if the role is real or fake.
Yeah, I'm in.
All right. I got 12 of these for you. All right. Number 1, salt manager.
I would guess yes. Like, state and local taxes need some managing.
That is correct. Not the sodium allocation lead technician.
Oh, I like that too, though.
That could work, though, right?
I am from Salt Lake. We've got salt flats out here. Could exist.
Oh, that's right. It's true. All right. Off to a good start. Number 2, ledger integrity officer.
I feel like you made that one up.
Made that one up. Good call. All right. It's 2 for 2. All right. Number 3, a bursar.
Spell it, please.
Bursar. Bursar.
Bursar. Because I'm like, hey, like you're talking politely to an elderly gentleman and it's cold outside, and like, bursar. I'm gonna go with it's real.
That is real. Correct. That is the centuries-old college university financial officer title. But also in Hamilton, you punch the bursar.
With Aaron Burr, sir. Yeah.
Aaron Bursar, right?
He handles the financials. You punch the bursar. Yes.
God, I love that.
I would not have picked that one out, but I figured if Jeremy's going to make something up, it's going to be awkward as all get out, not something he doesn't have a punchline for.
Ooh, true. All right, we'll see if that continues. So, bad 1,000 so far. Number 4, xenocurrency analyst.
Real.
That is fake. It sounds like it could be like an FX role or something like that, but no, that one does not exist.
So Is that like Xena Warrior Princess? Is that
Xena Warrior Princess, right?
Yeah, TV.
Arthur bought it this afternoon. God forbid he should miss Xena Warrior Princess.
That is a real job, and one I applied for.
Yes. Oh, and you didn't get selected? Weird. I wonder what was the...
It was weird because I even had my own like gold breastplate that I brought in for the audition. They're like, where did you get that? And I had it lying around.
Yeah. Don't we all have one of those? I love it. All right. Number 5, a sheetment analyst.
Abso-friggin-lutely real.
Abso-friggin-lutely real. What do they do, Tyler?
They sheet things.
Yeah, they're full of sheet.
They get sheet out of here.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's when you have money you're sitting on and the person it's supposed to go to hasn't collected. So the state's like, well, we'll hold on to it for you. And so you got to give it to the state. I've had several, I'm on the board of a nonprofit and they had a conference and the hotel, they've been negotiating for a long time on the final attrition rates, what the bill is. It's been like 2 years. And they're like, well, they haven't followed up with us in a while. So maybe we just write that off and like, we don't have to pay them the money. And I'm like, guys, like, no, they're going to come back for the money. And even if they don't, you have to sheet it. And they're like, no, we don't have to do that. I'm like, yeah.
Was the response, oh, sheet?
Yeah, right?
Was it? Oh, man. Way to be the bring the party down. Like, let's just take that back. No, can't do it.
I know. The accountant always ruins everything.
That's right. All right, number 6, fiduciary concierge.
I mean, those are both real words. So I'm going to go yes.
That one's fake. Sounds like a wealth advisory type thing, but nope, not that one.
Yeah, Jeremy puts the douche in fiduciary.
Yes, that's right. Number 7, depreciation custodian.
I don't know if it's actually real because I don't believe it, but I want it to be. So I'm going to say real.
Also fake. Just making that one up. Yeah.
I don't know what you would do in that role, but I want it to be real.
I feel like I would want that one to be real as well. Yeah.
When we sell our firms, we should go get new job titles every 6 months at Unaccountable. And these are some of them. Yeah,
that'd be perfect. All right, number 8. Yeah, 8. Cost segregation specialist.
Oh, that's real.
That is real. Do you know what they do?
They better be doing the cost segs. That's how we get, all the magic depreciation out of the land value of an asset and put into not even the building if we can. We want to get it into like the FF&E and other stuff that we can take Section 179 and bonus. And you and Ben were making fun of me for doing taxes. I love this world.
Yeah. And I couldn't say it any better. So looking at all of the assets and seeing what you can depreciate faster. No, thanks. I don't want that. Okay. All right. Number 9, reckoner.
Like a reconner and you're just saying it wrong?
Is it a reconner? Probably. I just feel like this is some reckoning. So I thought it was reckoner, but maybe it's a reconner.
But I feel like that would be a reconciler, not a reconner. Like that's Connor who came back. Like, right? It's reconner. I'm going to go wrong. Fake.
I was going to Google to see how I should say it. That one is real. An archaic English term for someone who kept accounts. So that's like the beginning of bookkeeper. Maybe it was reconner, but it's spelled reckoner. To me, that's reckoner.
Yeah, it sounds like reckoner.
There's a K in there. I think it's reckoner.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Number 10, custodian of public funds.
That's got to be real.
That one is real. Yes, there's an actual government title in certain jurisdictions of taking care of your tax funds. All right, number 11, comptroller general.
That feels like you just found 2 words and put them together. I'm going to go fake.
Nope, that one's real. So it is the top official of a supreme audit institution. So like the U.S., what is it, GAO? What does that stand for? General, I don't remember, damn it. Government Accountability Office. That's the like lead auditor for that.
That's the grand poobah of comptrollers.
Yeah, that's right. Right. And then the last one, and again, I think I'm pronouncing this right. Peculiar auditor.
This feels like you're baiting me because you're like, oh, I hope I'm saying it right, which makes it sound like it's factual. But I can live with getting it wrong because I was suspicious of you. I cannot live with getting it wrong if you fooled me. So I'm going, this is fake.
Also real. So this is the historic British term for an auditor of a peculiar, which is a parish exempt from normal diocese oversight. So like a auditor of a church location.
I'll be honest, I actually didn't even hear the title. It's just when you said, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, my brain went immediately to like, this feels like Jeremy playing games. Now I'm just like playing poker with the man across the table. I don't even know what the title was.
I double psyched you on that one.
You did. Double fake.
All right. Nice work, man. I think we got 6 out of 12. That's pretty good. Nice work.
I'm mediocre at best. All right, let's close it out.
And for winner this week, we're talking about firms buying other firms, right? Top 50 firm, Fraser and Dieter. They acquired a New England regional leading firm. The name of this firm is Gray, and Gray. Like, if you, like, they have to all be the same family, right? Be like, we're gonna
tell
make
me
you
nepotism without telling me you have nepotism.
We're gonna make you partner and put your name on the wall in the lobby and be like, it's already there twice. Cool, I guess.
Don't come to Utah for that. We have like 14 kids in this state.
Oh yeah, that's supposed.
It'd be Gray, and Gary because he's from another marriage.
Oh yeah. He'd be the black sheep of that family, but yeah, Gray and Gray got acquired. Weird.
And for loser of the week, I want to take this one because there's an article out there about the IRS talking about how scammers are sending out notices to pretend to be the IRS in an attempt to get access to crypto wallets and drain the accounts. So they're exploiting the government trust. They're sending out these notices, sending people to real looking web pages. But I mean, sometimes I respect the scammers because, you know, they're committing, man. They're going snail mail. No one's really willing to do that work anymore, but they are going the extra mile.
That's right. I actually was at a client today where they got a snail mail thing. It was totally a scam. And you could see it wasn't printed very well and there was no return address. I'm like, don't scan that to us. Throw it away.
Yep.
Save everybody some time. But yeah, you got to give it to them. They're getting creative.
Yeah. I admire the hustle. Jeremy, another great week for both of you listening. Make sure you come join us for UFAT. If this drops on time, it'll be tomorrow afternoon at noon. So find us on LinkedIn or our Facebook page. We'll have a link to it, or on unaccountable.co. Otherwise, Jeremy, time to make like a mic and drop. Catch you later. Look at you. You built your firm into a one-person empire, but now you're stuck trying to figure out how to scale to those next employees, add new services like advisory, tax prep, tax strategy, or really just level up your systems. Well, look no further than the Firm Foundation. Yes, we've taken everything we've learned in our 4 years building a 7-figure firm and bottled it up for you to replicate and put in place right away. Head over to thefirm.foundation and use the code unaccountable for your special discount. We'll see you there.